You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back to the Cabral Concept. I'm Stephen Cabral. Today, on a Motivation and Mindset Monday, we're going to take on a topic that a lot of people are dealing with right now. I know for sure that it leads to a lot of frustration in their life, and so I'm hoping to shed a little bit of clarity on it, maybe a little bit of insight. I've certainly been through it myself, and I at least want to share with some of my clients what their experiences have been, and maybe, just maybe, it will help with your own life as well. So what I'm talking about right now is essentially how to get people to take them more seriously when they're either giving advice or sharing things from their own life that they think would benefit others. So here's, I think, where it comes into the biggest play, and probably the most questions I've got on it and the most frustration has come from when let's say a wife is trying to convince her husband to eat more healthy or to go on a healthier lifestyle plan, maybe going to the gym more often, or a lot of times what they feed their own kids. So a husband might think it's okay for their kids to eat mac and cheese and hot dogs and milkshakes and all those things all the time, when his wife might say, no, I don't think that we should be feeding our children that because it could be leading to ear, nose, and throat issues, lowered immunity, learning disabilities, all of these specific things, again, which there's a lot of research on. And it's not just wives trying to convince their husbands, it could be vice versa. And also, it can also be from trying to help our own siblings in our family as adults, and as well as our own parents. And I think that's where the most of the frustration lies. So one thing is when you're out with your friends, it's a little bit easier to share your opinion with them because they've known you basically as a friend, especially if you met a little bit later in your life. They may not see you as the childhood friend or those specific types of issues that kind of go in the dynamics that go into relationships. What I'm trying to say is this. With family, it's a lot different, and here's why. When you're trying to convince your parents or siblings of something, and even though you have the absolute best of intentions, they still probably see you as, parents will see you as their child, their, 3-year-old, 5-year-old, teenager, whatever it might be. And they still view it from that vantage point. No one might take you as seriously as you deserve merit-wise. And the same thing goes, I would say, even with your siblings as well. They've grown up with you. You've had those, childhood disputes. There's a little bit of that pecking order. There's a little bit of competition and all of those things that go into, again, the family dynamics. So you can have the absolute best of intentions, but that does not mean you're going to be as taken seriously as you should be. I'm going to give you some advice. I'm going to share with you a little bit of the story right now. So one thing I can say for sure is, although it's better right now, in 2016, years ago, and I've been studying this for now 20 years and have a fair amount of insight, read thousands and thousands of books, get asked to speak all over the country. I consult with startups all over the United States and even abroad. I work with clients from literally all over the world, even with translators, to be able to read their lab reports, explain to them how they got here, where they're at right now, and the plan they need to help themselves get balanced and well again. But even when it comes to my own family, they won't always ask me first. And it's really, really strange, of course. I do understand it because I understand the whole family dynamic. But what I'm saying to you, as someone that gets to work with all these great companies and gets looked to and sought after advice, all these fun things that I'm obviously very blessed and happy and grateful for. My own family still doesn't always do that and ask me that advice as well. So I can assure you that you're probably in a similar situation. And what I can tell you is this. You can only do your best. Even though we all have the best of intentions, we don't want to see anyone suffer. If I know someone's in pain and I know I can alleviate that pain, I really want to say something. I really want to help them. But I know now it's not my place. It's just not my place where I can start to interject my feelings of what's best for them, because the truth is they know that I'm available if they need me and that I am always there if they would like my advice. But now it's up to them to take that first step. It's up to them to see that this is the right advice that they're looking for, or whatever they might like. And so the funny thing is, even with a lot of my clients, they share those same frustrations with me. There's nothing more I want to do than help people. I mean, that's the truth. And obviously, no one I want to help more than my own family. But again, I can only be there if they're looking to accept that advice. And so what I would say for you and a lot of my clients who come to me with those same frustrations, they're like, why won't my mother, listen to me when I try to tell her that using margarine is no longer good for her? Well, part of that's been ingrained from the media, of course, right? Even though you could do an easy search right now and say, like, margarine is a synthetic chemical-based product that should not be used with hydrogenated-based oils, all of these different things. But for a couple of decades, it was seen as a health food. This always takes us back to the fact that if it's not a natural-based food, probably not the best for us. And the same goes a lot of frustrations that I meet with families. I'm working with kids with ADD, with ADHD, with autism, with immunity-based issues, with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, all sorts of different things, and we're working on nutrition. But when the whole family isn't on board, that goes for the grandparents, husband and wife, even the other kids in the family, and they're tempting them, and they have these foods in the house that will clearly lead to more suffering. It's challenging, right? It's challenging for all of those people who only want to do what's best for the child, but the other people won't get on board. One is because, maybe they don't believe it, and that's okay. But even if you show them the research, they'll say, oh no, why haven't I ever heard of it before? Or it simply means this: they're not ready to make that change in their own life. And if they're not ready to make that change in their own life, that certainly means that you doing it and putting it in front of them is going to make them feel worse about themselves. So they're going to laugh at it, they're going to dismiss it, or they're just going to say that they simply don't believe you. But what I'll leave you with is this, is that you should never give up. Eventually, people will come around. My own family came around a few years back where they said, okay, you've gotten all of our friends great results. You've gotten these people great results. You've, healed yourself. You're doing your own life. Maybe you can help, me as well. And so just keep yourself open to it. It doesn't, as they say, right? Rome wasn't built in a day. It's just part of the dynamic. And I really believe in it because I just know that the frustration's out there, that you will get through this. And my way to do that is this. First, you need to be that thing yourself, which means that if you want a healthier family, healthier siblings, healthier parents, you need to first be eating healthier yourself. And you're going to have to absorb some of that blowback. Like you might not drink at all the family parties, or you might not have 4 or 5 or 6 glasses of alcohol. You might just have 1 glass, and that might be okay. Or when everyone's doing a big family barbecue, you may not decide to eat the hot dogs, the synthetic hot dogs. Maybe you're just doing some grilled chicken or some fish, okay? So, but then expect a little bit of feedback back. Expect to say, oh, what do you think? You're better than us. Why aren't you doing that? That's okay. Just absorb it. Then if you want, start to give a little bit of your information out. This is why I chose to do it for myself. It doesn't mean you need to do it, but this is why I believe it's best for me. It's a great starting point is that you want to be the thing, as Gandhi said, right? You want to be the change that you want to see in the world. And I truly do believe that because once you start doing that and people start to see the benefits in you. So, it's not a secret, but one of the things that we do at our fitness studio inside of the Wellness Center is that we help clients get really great weight loss results. And what happens is they end up losing somewhere between like 10 and 21 pounds or so in 21 days. And when they lose that and they go to dinner with their friends who might have seen them for a couple weeks, they say, how's your face so much thinner? How did you lose so much weight in that short period of time? And they say, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm eating. Here's what I'm doing for exercise. And then the people, guess what? They're obviously so much more receptive because they see the results. So first, be that thing that you want to see in other people. Absolutely. Do those specific things. Get the results that you want yourself, and then share that information with others. It's then their choice of whether they're going to decide to come along with your journey, on your journey, and hopefully they are. Hopefully they're open to that. And then I would say if they're not, it just might not be the right time. Keep in mind that in your life, it hasn't always been the right time for you either. So just keep that in the back of your mind, knowing that it's not always easy for people to make that change right away. And so if you're asking people to make change, it sometimes has to coincide with what is the right time in their own life. So always be gentle. Always know that people are doing the absolute best that they can for where they are right now in their own life. And just having that little peace of mind or in the back of your mind, I think that you're going to be able to not only influence more people, but do it in a more peaceful way for both them and yourself. And I do believe that eventually they'll come around once you see your great results. Thank you again for tuning into the Cabral Concept. I'll be back real soon with another episode.
Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.